What is up, guys, and welcome back to our Boston Bruins franchise mode commentary. In the last video, we set our lines, and we are about halfway through the season. We are 3 points back from the Toronto Maple Leafs for first place in the Atlantic Division. We are 28, 18, and 5, and also 7 points ahead of the two playoff spots and the playoff, two wildcard spots. It only took me less than 30 seconds to fuck up. Um, 7 points ahead of the second wildcard spot, as well as 7 points ahead of the next team out, which is the Montreal Toilet Seats. So when we looked at our player stats for the first half of the season, what we saw was a little bit of weak play on our left wing in particular. Pavel Zacha with 26 points on the second line, being outperformed by his line mates, and then Rantanen on the third with 19, being severely outperformed by his line mates, and then Kyle Connor with 10 points, about par with his line mates, but that fourth line has not been good for us. So what we're going to try to do in this video, and I have a guy in mind, is make a trade so that we can probably send Rantanen packing, send him elsewhere, and then move Zacha down to that third line, and then find us a new second line left winger. So when Daniel Sedin left this team for retirement, he was our second line left winger, and he was filling that role quite nicely for us. We couldn't make it past the second round, past the toilet seats, but he really left that hole there. So we're going to go get another left winger from Vancouver, and this guy is going to be a little bit younger than Daniel Sedin was when we traded for him, and that guy is going to be Reed Boucher. And Reed Boucher was not my first option, and I will show you guys why before I get into trying to trade for him. For an example, we're going to go to the Nashville Predators. I was really looking to try to trade for Kevin Fiala, but that was basically impossible. As you can see, medium top 6, 86 overall, age 22, a decent sized contract already, and his trade value is not the highest, probably about a third of a bar. But the thing is, the Predators don't want to trade him, and that really hurts in terms of trying to get a trade done. So we'll throw Rantanen and we'll throw DJ Jerome. I really hope this accidentally doesn't go through, but I just want to emphasize the difference in the trade values. So if we send them that, and if you look at the trade values, it should easily go through in our favor, but it's rejected, and it says we're quite far off in value. And this was the case for many of the players I tried to trade for. This is a package that I would not send in return for Fiala, but I just wanted to show you guys what I was talking about. But it will be easier to get a deal done for Reed Boucher because he has a little bit less trade value, even though he still is an 86 overall. He's probably done growing, but still is an 86. He has a low trade value, so I'll be fine with him as our target compared to what else we were looking for. And I want to show you guys his attributes real quick and how he's done so far on the season. So he's got pretty good offensive stats, and that's one of the main reasons we're going after him, because we want a guy who can put up points on the second line there. Because Zacha's more of a power forward, more of a right now at least could fill that bottom 6 role better than trying to play on the second line with some skilled guys. So Reed Boucher has the better offensive stats, pretty good shot. Also not bad defensively, 4 stars, but the 5-star skating is really good for him there. And a 3.5-star physical isn't bad, but if you look at his stats, he's already got 38 points on the season, and that is much better than any of our left wingers outside of Brad Marchand. Much better than any of them are doing. We will look to see who his line mates are, and he's actually the best forward on Vancouver. He's playing most likely with Louis Eriksson and Bo Horvat. So if you can put up 38 points with an 86 and an 85 that aren't that great, you should be able to do quite a bit of damage on our second line with guys like Ho-Sang and Turris, I believe, is our second line center right now. So put him in with Turris and Ho-Sang and see how he does. So sending on the way out, goodbye Mikko Rantanen. Unfortunately, he did not really fit in. Couldn't really find his groove, I guess. It'd be nice if we could hold on to him and see him grow, but still with that low elite tag, you can't count on it. Looking at our left wingers as well, we have quite a bit of options in terms of guys that are young and growing. Martian's obviously going to be our top line guy, but then we got Zaka and Connor, who are right there around Rantanen's age and overall and potential. But we also have DeBrusque in the system, who is pretty damn good offensively. I would consider throwing him up onto the team, except for his defensive category is only 2 stars. So for DeBrusque to be able to make this team, we're going to need a little bit of progression there in his defensive categories. But that is neither here nor there. So we're going to trade Mikko Rantanen and see if we can get them to take the Islanders' second-round pick, which has pretty good trade value. So I imagine that the Islanders are pretty bad so far this year, and that went through. I should have tried to see if it would have gone through with our second first, but that's okay. We're not worried about it. We got Reed Boucher. We have a shiny new second-line left winger. I'm going to go through and edit the lines really fast. I'm not going to do a jump cut. We're just going to get through this. So the second line is Krejci and Lindholm, and we will put Zaka down there with Turris and Hosang. So Krejci and Lindholm have been pretty good so far this season as well. So we'll throw Reed Boucher on this line. He did fall 1 overall point, morale based it looks like, as he is anxious, has anxiety with his new team. He's gained morale because of locker room interactions, so those cancel out, but he still lost an overall point. I don't understand that. Reed Boucher, can we throw him anywhere else? You might be able to throw him on the power play as a left-handed shot, and remove Zaka from that role, because we don't really want him on the power play unless he has to be. So left wing, Reed Boucher, changing current line. We weren't performing bad so far this year, but our performance wasn't outstanding, and as it stood, it would probably lead us to maybe like the third, finish third in the division, and then a first or second round exit. We want more than that right now at this point in the season. So we're gonna make that little change and see if that affects us any. So looking at our recent performance, ending the last video, we were 1-3-1 in our last 5. So let's see if we can do a little bit better. I will sim to the trade deadline. If we start doing poorly, I might look to make more moves. And then if we're clicking, if we're rolling, if we're winning games, I will not touch a damn thing. But we lost the first game after the trade 3-1. Stupid fucking scouting. Oh my god. I don't know where to go. Do not know where to go. Looks like we'll just go back to the CHL, whatever. Yeah. So hopefully that trade will get shut out against Vancouver. Of course, I bet Mikko Rantanen had a hat trick or something. But of course, NHL 17 has no way of being able to go in and look at that. That is something they should add. I believe it was in the game for previous gen, so on the 360, I think you could do that. If you simmed a game, you could go in and look at the box score. We can do that for MLB The Show, and it would just make sense if you could do that for this game, but you cannot. So we won 3 of our last 4 of our last 5. There we go. Getting on kind of a roll here as we're playing some Western Conference teams. Yeah, all last 8 games have been Western Conference teams. We've won 5 of our last 6, so we're looking better than we were to start the month. Damn, scouting is so annoying, man. It is so annoying. And there should be a way when it asks you to edit scouting assignment there, if you could go in and look at your list of scouted players, because that's what you want to do if you want to have a good scouting strategy and you want to target certain individuals. So we're up to 34, 21, and 6. So we won 3 more games than we lost that month. Not bad. 6 points behind Toronto for the division lead, and we are only 4 points ahead of the second wildcard spot, although it looks like the next team out is a little bit further away than they were. So let's go to the Eastern Conference here, and Buffalo Sabres at 65. Oh man, the Metro division is god awful. So the Metro has Washington 1, and then Philly 2, Detroit 3. So Buffalo currently is the next team out. They have 65 points, so we're 9 points ahead of Buffalo. Let's look at how we are performing across the league, or in comparison to the rest of the league. So 287 goals for, that is about middle of the road. We're pushing top 10. 2.66 goals against is about the same, pushing top 10, so not bad there. Power play of 19.1, pretty much the same as the last, pushing the top 10, but not quite there. And our penalty kill is 8th from last, so room for improvement in the penalty kill department. It's probably our weak spot as of right now. So I don't think I want to make any moves. I will go through and look at everyone's trade block just to see if anyone has popped up on the block that we could potentially trade for, and that we could that could improve our team. Oh man, so trading block here, edit trade block. We want to browse trade blocks. I wonder if Sam Reinhart's still an RFA. That would be an insane free agent signing for any team pushing for a playoff run. Plekanec, no, he's too old. He is too old. Mark Giordano would be a huge pickup for anybody as an 89 overall. But I don't think he's somebody we want to go after. Yeah, that contract's insane for a 35-year-old. So if he were to stick around and not retire on schedule, that contract would really eat into us, and we do not want to. We do not want to risk that. I can tell you that much. Vanek, 82 overall, not good enough. Coyle's only an 80? Jeez, Minnesota, what did you do to Charlie Coyle to piss him off? Who slept with his girlfriend? Johnny Boychuk. That's a huge contract for his age. Yo, look at Ranta's hairdo. What is that? Good lord. Zuccarello? That's a pretty good player. The only problem is we don't have any need for him on the right wing. But he is left-handed. We could throw him on the left wing. It's a lot of points he's putting up too. What's that? 55? 55 points? That's not bad. Maybe. We might see what it could take to get Matt Zuccarello. Broussard, we don't need a center. Definitely don't need a center. Ellis. What did the Penguins do to Ellis? But you still look at that trade value. So it's definitely morale based as to why he's only an 80 overall. Not interested though. Anything else here? So the Vancouver put the Islanders' second-round pick on the block immediately after they got it from us. Alright, so there's only one player, and that was Mats Zuccarello. I'll just take a gander at where we might slot him in the lineup. I will take a gander. Just doing my due diligence here. I don't anticipate making this trade for Zuccarello, but you never know. You never know. So on the right side, we have Pastrnak, Lindholm, Hosang, and then Boucher and Zacha. So how are these guys doing? It looks like they're doing pretty bad this month. Reed Boucher, I can't remember how many points he had, but I feel like Pastrnak has only scored 1 or 2 points. And I know Lindholm's only had 1 assist this month. So that is a huge problem. Jesus, Bergeron. So that second line right now is a huge problem. What if we did something like trading to put Zuccarello here on the second line instead of Reed Boucher? So what if we did, and I feel like we should switch up a little bit. So what if we did Zuccarello here on the left wing and Hosang on the right wing, move him up. And then our third line could be Boucher, Turris, Lindholm. Our fourth line could be Zacha could play center for the fourth line. We could do something like oh no, we have Riley Nash. We could do something like Connor, Nash, and Zacha on the fourth line. That would be insane, but it depends on what it would take to get Zuccarello. Depends on what it would take. And that would mean putting Zacha on the fourth line with a third scoring line tag, and he does not have any additional lines other than the forward lines, I don't believe, because we took him out of the power play. So we might look to put him somewhere else if we can, just so he doesn't get mad and regress. Let's check out the Islanders, and they want to trade him, so that will make the trade a lot easier. 31 years old. Well, let's take a look at his contract. I think it was just 1 year, so that's no big deal. I imagine that we're going to be in a pretty rough spot at the end of this year in terms of cap space, but I will cross that bridge when I get to it. And he is 1 year left on his deal, so push comes to shove, we trade for him, he turns out to not play very well for us, we can just get rid of him in free agency, just let him go. So they have quite a few guys matching block that we can afford to trade. These prospects like Shabbat, or even Fleury, or even O'Gara. I think with O'Gara being that bottom pairing defenseman, he's decent defensively, but he just has no offensive stats whatsoever. He's got 4 assists on the season, and we could replace him with Matt Grzelcyk, who has insane offensive stats for a defenseman, and his defensive category is low 80s, so we could probably pair him with a guy like Brandon Carlo, and they would get along together. But he only has 19 points in 54 games in the AHL, so something's going on there that's not allowing him to produce like his attributes say he should. It's probably his offensive awareness being only 84. So we'll see about that. So would Shabbat go through for Zuccarello 1-for-1? It might. It might. So, are we okay with trading Shabbat? I don't remember exactly what I traded to get Shabbat, but if you look at our defensive core, Vlasic's here for a few more years, so's Brodin. I don't see Krug going anywhere anytime soon. Liljegren, McAvoy, and Carlo. So that's our top 6 right there. And in addition to that, we have another prospect in Fleury. McNabb's getting up there. And then O'Gara and Grzelcyk could easily play in the NHL right now, as well as Morrow. And even Arneson to a lesser extent. So I might be willing to trade Shabbat. And he's our left-handed defenseman, so he's really competing with quite a few players. The good thing, or the insane thing about his stats is his 5-star skating. 94 speed for a defenseman. That is ridiculous. How's he doing in the AHL? Let's take a look at that. 9 points in 54 games, and he's a -6. Oh, man. This is a tough trade. This is like a season-altering trade. Because if we do this, and I could very easily see it sparking that second line, and they start playing well again. And at the same time, I could easily seeing it be a bust. And then we would lose a pretty good prospect in Shabbat for essentially nothing. I'll take a quick gander at who's going to need new contracts this year. See if there's anybody that we're going to have to pay. So Mike Fisher, we're going to lose $3 million in cap, which is good. Fleury and O'Gara we could probably get for cheap. Connor might want a little bit more. Hosang's definitely going to want more. Oh man, Carlo, Zacha, and McAvoy are going to want more money. So if we get Zuccarello here, it might just be a 1-year thing. Don't know why it went to Horsell, but that's okay. We'll go back and get Shabbat. Where is he? Here he is. It'd be really funny if his name was pronounced Chabot, and I've been saying Shabbat this whole time. I kind of want to see if we can avoid trading Shabbat in this situation. I kind of want to see if I can, just because he's such a top-notch prospect for us. So we can throw in McNabb and a little bit more. I just don't know. I'm just not sold on this trade. Part of me wants to just say whatever and move on, but part of me is also like, I've set out to win as soon as possible with this team because we have those older guys at the top end of our team, and I don't want to waste another year headed towards their retirement. Man, I just don't know, because they're 31, 33, 32, and 30, and Rask is not getting any younger either. I believe he's 31 right now. Yeah, he's 31. So those guys, we're going to need to win before they start regressing, and Turris at 29 to a lesser extent. Man, I just don't know. I just don't know. I'm not sold on it either way. Oh, I'm just antagonizing over this right now. Agonizing, not antagonizing. That was the wrong word. So if we just do Shabbat, I'm just going to do it. I am just going to do it. We don't need another defensive prospect. We have our fair share of those and young defensemen. We have 3 guys that are still growing, that are still low 20s, and already 2 of them are playing in the NHL, one's medium elite potential. And then Fleury, to a lesser extent, is basically the same thing as Shabbat. So, man, I really need to talk myself into this trade. I really need to talk myself into this trade. Looking at Fleury, he's arguably the same player as Shabbat right now, except for that outstanding skating category. It seems to be a minor difference, and the physical is probably where he's gaining back in terms of overall. Alright, whatever. If this goes through 1-for-1, I'm happy with it. If it doesn't, I'm moving on. And it goes through. Okay. Okay. Roast me in the comment section below if you're not a fan of that trade. I'm going for it, though. I am going for it. Why do we have too many skaters? Why did O'Gara come up? No, O'Gara's been up. What am I talking about? Where's the 19 skaters coming from? Do we have somebody scratched? Oh no, we just traded for Zuccarello. Oh yeah, we just traded for Zuccarello, and we do not have... Okay, that's something I did not think about. Did not think about it. We traded for another guy, and did not... We traded for another NHL guy and did not trade away an NHL guy, so we have 1 extra. And we'll just try to send down Mike Fisher, I guess. We'll be over the NHL salary cap. Fucking what? How does that make any sense whatsoever? If we send down Mike Fisher, we'll be over the cap. I don't get that. Alright, we'll just let Mike Fisher rot as a healthy scratch. Because I cannot send him down. Basically worthless anyways at this point in his career. Doesn't have any trade value. Doesn't have... down to a low 80s guy with no trade value, and his contract's expiring anyways, so it's not like we need him to be better for next season, because there is no next season for him. So we'll throw Roop Heinz up here on this first line, as I was not ready to make AHL line changes either. If you have any other healthy scratches that we want to get ice time, I guess Poturalski? No, not really. I don't care about that. We'll just leave Schwartz there. And on defense, let's see. We're probably good with this. Actually, do we have another defenseman here to replace? Nope, we just got Marshall. We do not care about Marshall. So we'll do that. We'll put Liljegren up in the top 4. Because why not? Scratches are nothing important. Russo and Vladar. It'd be nice to see one of them jump up to fill the backup goal. The backup role. God. To fill the backup role on our NHL squad. So Zuccarello fell to an 85 from potential, or from morale. I am all over the place. So I said we were going to do Hosang there, and then Turris is listed as a first line role guy, and have him on the 3rd line. But he's not upset with his ice time, so that's good. I'm going to see if anyone is, just to double check while we're going ahead and making line changes. Do we have anybody? So nobody's upset with ice time thus far this season. I bet you Zaka will be very soon. So this 3rd line of Boucher, Turris, and Elias Lindholm is probably the best 3rd line in the league. Alright, so that's what our forward lines look like now. If you did not approve of that trade, join the club, because I'm not sure how I feel about it either. I'm not sure if it's even going to benefit us to any extent whatsoever, but it definitely makes our lines look better. Probably have the best fourth line and third line in the league, best bottom six. And so that's that. Do we need to make any changes to our power play units? We just got Zuccarello. Let's check out his offensive stats again. So I clicked the wrong guy. He's got 88, pretty much high 80s for puck skills and senses, and then around the 85 marks for shooting. So he would be good on the forward lines. In our power play unit, and he might replace Elias Lindholm. Actually, he is a left-handed, so he'd be replacing Reed Boucher. But he's listed as a right winger, so we'll put him here instead of Elias Lindholm, as I am just forgetting everyone's name the minute that I look at it. And we will put him here as well. As a left-handed guy, he would fit well in those four-man power play units. So does anyone else need more ice time based on their roles? Our top line's all listed as second line guys, second, and third. Reed Boucher and Elias Lindholm. And then Zaka. If we could get Zaka in somewhere, that would be a plus, but I'm not too concerned about it. I don't think we can get Reed Boucher in anywhere else. Maybe on the power play, but I don't know. We're just gonna roll with it. I'll look back in a couple weeks and see if anybody has issues with their ice time, and I'll make changes accordingly. But for now, we're just going to go ahead and try to finish up the season as Buffalo and Sam Reinhart figured out their problems, and he probably signed back with them. Let's see if he did. Go to player signings. Player and pick trading signings. Contract renewals? Huh. That's just us. Not sure why Rantanen and that second show up twice there, but that's okay. So I don't know what happened with Sam Reinhart, but who cares? We're going to sim the rest of the season now. And so that's our trade deadline deal. Traded for Zuccarello. Earlier in this video, we traded for Reed Boucher, a couple of 85 overall wingers to really give us quite a bit of depth in our forward lines. And hopefully that will provide us with better scoring. And we won 2 of our first 3 games after making those deals, so it might have. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. An 8-0 victory against Ottawa is fantastic. A shutout of the Penguins, and we've beaten the Blues. A couple of losses sprinkled in there, but for the most part, we're getting these wins. We're taking home 2 points from these games, as we failed to take home 2 points against Columbus. Once again, as we are simming the season live, I have no idea what to say. I have no idea how to fill the airwaves here, as we win and lose one more. So we're up to 40, 24, and 8. 6 points ahead of the toilet seats. And I imagine we caught Toronto. Nope. Toronto went crazy. I was going to say we caught up to Toronto a little bit, made some ground. But we did not. They are 8 points out, and pretty much, I'm pretty much willing to say that they have clinched the division, although they have not mathematically done so. Otherwise, the X would be a Y. But we are 6 points out from the second wildcard spot, and probably 13 points out from making the playoffs, I guess, from that 9th spot, or in our case, 6th in the division spot, because we are better than the Metro by far. So the Metro has Washington, Philly, and Pittsburgh. So yeah, so Buffalo there is the next team out. So we are 13 points ahead of them. and it looks like we should be good to go in terms of making the playoffs. So we now 2.9 goals for. That's gone up a little bit. That's good to see. 2.57 goals against. That's gone up a little bit. Also fantastic to see. Power play 19% has gone down a tad. Penalty kill stayed about the same. So since we made that trade, won more games than we lost. That's always good news. And it looks like we are headed to a playoff spot as long as we avoid a major collapse here at the end of the season. Got 2 games against Montreal in our next 3, and we lose in regulation in Montreal. So if we perform well enough this season, we might be staring down the barrel of another toilet seat series, and so we might want to. We're gonna have an opportunity to get that revenge if we're lucky enough, and I still really want to beat the Habs in a playoff series, preferably sweep them in something like the conference finals. That would be really fun, as we've won 4 in a row. I'm gonna take a quick gander. No. We're close enough to the end of the season. We've clinched the wild card spot, 10 points up on the second wild card spot, 13 up on the next man out, 6 points down on Toronto, and they have clinched the division. So we're gonna go ahead and sim these last 3 games, and I will quickly breeze over the league regular season stats, and then we will call it a video. As we lose in regulation, if we can win these last 2 games to end the season strong, we might be facing the Habs in the first round of the playoffs, as they were 3rd in our division when we were 2nd last time we looked, and we lose to them 5-2 last game of the season, coming off an 8-0 victory against Florida. So Montreal getting a little bit of a boost, and we end up with a little bit of a we're playing them in the first round. All right. Montreal gets a little bit of a boost there, and we unfortunately lose our last game of the season. No momentum heading into the playoffs. So our ratings have gone up 94, 93, 91. I believe at the beginning of the season it was something like 92, 92, 90. Maybe, I don't know. But those have definitely improved over the course of the season, and much better than they were sometime in the offseason. Looking at our points, our top line was fantastic. All of them was 70-plus points. Bergeron was 1 point off from point a game. Zuccarello, I don't remember exactly how many points he had when we traded for him, but his stats look good overall. Same with Boucher, 56-point season, not bad. Turris, 61 on the 3rd line, so maybe if we'd had him on the 2nd line, he would have done a lot better. Krejci and Hosang, 51. Lindholm, Zaka, 47. Then way down here, we got Connor, 22. Nash, 28. Fisher, 7 in his limited number of games. And that's about it. Krug, 31. Not bad for a defenseman, but not great. And it's really tough to judge by the plus minuses how our lines were, just because we changed them a few times and made a couple of trades throughout the season. But it's really good to see only 5 players were minus, and Boucher, I don't remember his minus when we traded for him, so that might all be from Vancouver. Looking at Rask's stats, I did not look at his stats throughout the season, but 232 GAA, or throughout this video at least, and a 923 save. Pretty good numbers for a full season of play. He did play 70 games, so I don't think Cam Ward got too many starts for us. It'd be nice if the auto goalie rotations worked a little bit better. You're never really going to see a guy play 70 games in an NHL season. Let's see how many players played 70. There was 6 guys in the NHL that got 70 starts this season, and one of them was an 82 overall. So if that were to happen in real life, that would just be the most fucky thing ever, I guess. So let's look. It looks like Frederick Anderson is going to win the Vezina. Maybe John Gibson. And so Gibson was really good. Holtby was really good. Probably going to be one of those 2. Let's see who had the better save. Gibson had the better save, more wins, and the better GAA. Gibson will be the Vezina winner. Rookie skaters. Let's see if it loads. That's the opposite end of the spectrum. We do not want to look at that. But O'Gara, 4 points. Big season for O'Gara. +7 is not bad. Del Call, 78 points. He was one of the guys I looked at trading for that had just a stupid high trade value that we could not push anything through. So he will handily win the Calder Trophy with 6-point lead on Nylander, Sprong, DeBrincat, Shinkaruk. Any rookie goalies? Any rookie goalies? Nope, not really. Malcolm Subban still listed as a goalie despite playing in his like 5th NHL season. Never gets enough games to qualify. Vinny Vavalainen, or Vaney Vavalainen down here, 212 GAA and only 17 starts, so he might be pretty good. It looks like he sims pretty well at least. And Thatcher Demko, up and coming goaltender for the Vancouver Orcas, as I need to plug in my computer, but I do not want to stop this video. I do not want to go back and edit for a simple plugging in of my charger. So this is our Boston Bruins franchise mode, raw and unedited. Oh, as we look at, holy shit, there's a high-scoring NHL season as two guys eclipse 100. Alexander Ovechkin scored 72 goals in 82 games. Seguin with 101 points will win the Art Ross. Probably the Hart, probably the Ted Lindsay. Ovechkin, I imagine, will win the Rocket Richard. So crazy season across the NHL. Guys that got close to 100: Tarasenko, Stamkos, Ben, Giroux, Schwartz, Stastny. So Schwartz and Stastny riding on the coattails of Vladimir Tarasenko. They're racking up shit tons of assists because they get to play with him. Same story for Backstrom with Ovechkin, although Backstrom with that 94 and 94 offensive awareness and passing. Look at Shattenkirk down here. Shattenkirk. I wish I could Shattenkirk on your face, you asshole. Good season for him for the Montreal Toilet Seats. We need to shut him down in the playoffs. Let's go look at defensemen. Oliver Ekman-Larsson. So I'd noticed that the Coyotes wanted to trade him. We have nowhere near the capital to try to go and get Oliver Ekman-Larsson, but he still put up a 71-point season despite being on the trading block on an absolute shit team. So good for him. Good for him. So that was it for this season. We had a respectable finish. 46, 28, and 8. So since those trades were made, starting with the Reed Boucher trade, we went 18, 10, and 3. That is not bad, especially considering the pace that we were on wasn't the best. If we'd have continued on that pace, we'd probably be somewhere down here in the range of the Tampa Bay Lightning, and we could have easily slipped down to the situation that the Buffalo Sabres ran with 89 points, missing the playoffs by 1. But our final stats: 2.9 goals for, 2.54 goals against. So the power play went up a little bit, up to 20.1. Penalty kill, almost 80%. Pretty much even home and away records, just 2 wins and losses different. So not a bad season for us overall. We look to make a cup run, obviously, and we will have to start that by going through the Montreal Toilet Seats as we get to face them back-to-back seasons in the playoffs. Definitely developing a rivalry. We're definitely continuing along that Kevin Shattenkirk storyline. If you do not recall, the year 1 free agency, we tried to sign Kevin Shattenkirk, and he spurned us and said that we were not ready to win now. And he went to the Montreal Canadiens, who had the second overall pick in the draft the year before, so they were not good either. But the two teams met in the playoffs, despite the fact that we weren't ready to win now. And the Toilet Seats beat us in 6 games, as we just could not shut them down, unfortunately. So we've looked for that to change this year, and we will get into their lines, and we'll get into the simulation next video. As always, if you like this video, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Also, check out other series on our channel. I have a St. Louis Blues fantasy draft series, and I just recently started a Make the EU Great Again fantasy draft series where we're only picking players from European Union nations. So check out our other videos, like and subscribe, share our videos with your friends. Any support is appreciated. So tune in next time to see us in this rivalry playoff matchup.